There's a twofold lesson in this parable, that we are called to sow seeds wherever we go, no matter what the soil looks like. And we're called to be good soil, so when others are throwing seeds, they can grow in us. I'm Reverend Connie Seifert. I'm the United Methodist pastor of First United Methodist in Corning, New York. And I recently preached on the parable of the sower. And what I want to share here is my version of how Jesus explained that parable. Now, the farmer plants the seeds of God's grace. And some people are like the hardened soil of the path, and they see the seeds of grace, but before they can collect them and give them a better place to grow, the devil himself scoops them up and runs off to dispose of them permanently. Some people are like the seeds that land in the rocky places. There's enough soil for the seeds to take root, but the first sign of difficulty, like the sun's heat, and they just give up growing. Whatever little grace was in them disappears, and their connection to God, their desire to live in God's kingdom, is gone and forgotten. Some people are like the seeds that land in the place of thorny weeds, and they hear God speaking, but they're overwhelmed by work and worry, by fear, hate, and anger. The worries of the world drown God's grace and deafen them to God's wisdom. But then there are those seeds that plant and that land in good, fertile soil. Well, those are the people who hear God's wisdom, experience God's grace, and can't wait to share it with the world. And some are more gifted and more generous than others. But all of them share it with the world, making the world a better place for everyone. And that's the reflection for today. There's a twofold lesson in this parable, that we are called to sow seeds wherever we go, no matter what the soil looks like, and we're called to be good soil, so when others are throwing seeds, they can grow in us. The people listening to Jesus would have immediately known that Jesus wasn't talking about any real farmer planting real seeds, because no farmer would risk wasting seeds by just throwing them willy-nilly. Jesus was talking about the God seeds he was planting in them and in us. The God seeds that we're meant to go and plant in others. And we are meant to let the seeds of God's grace grow in us, to be good soil for the seeds of God's grace that others are planting for us. So on the other hand, Jesus is warning us that there may be times when we're not the good soil, that we have to be prepared for days when we're like the hardened dirt of the well-worn path where no grace can grow. We'll have times when we are like the rocky places and we just don't have the resources to let God's grace grow. Or more often than not, we're in a place surrounded by thorny weeds, so absorbed by work and worry and the world that God's grace has no chance of getting a foothold in our souls. But then there will be those glorious days when we hear God's voice and we rush to answer Jesus's call, and we joyously embrace God's grace and then generously share it in all the ways we can think of with all the people we meet.